and this is Kelly Hill Yoga. Welcome back to my farm here in Southwest Virginia in this beautiful day, hanging out here in our back pasture. Wonderful dogwood is blooming behind me. Today is going to be super fun practice. We're going to focus on balance, just challenge ourselves a little bit, and then being mindful of the breath as we do so. We don't need any props or anything, so just grab your mat yourself, and when you're ready, come to child's pose and we'll get started. Let's take a little wide knees in this child's pose. If you feel this a little bit too much in the low back, do walk those knees in just a little bit. Take the arms out in front of us. Rest that forehead on the mat. Start to use your breath to become present. So we're turning everything else off that's happening outside the space, or doing our best to do so. It's okay if you bring it down to a dim hum. Just really not overthinking this. Just being super simple in our practice today. This is just about spending a little time with yourself to maybe feel better, just release a little. All about self-love, which is never selfish. So let's just take 3 really good rounds of breath here. Deep inhale. Really focus on how that breath feels as it expands your lungs, maybe even breathing nice and deep so the rib cage expands out to your sides. Exhale, release. Allow any tiny bits of tension, distractions to melt away with each breath. Gently guiding that air in. Exhale, find release, find focus. And as we work on ourselves today, working on our balance, just know that when you do feel challenged, to remember to breathe. It's just something that can be applied wonderfully on the mat and off. We're just kind of feeling a little out of whack. Just come back to that breath. It has a wonderful, wonderful ability to re-energize, calm us, and just refocus. So one last breath, deep inhale, and exhale to release. Now let's just find a little bit of movement here in our spine, natural range of motion. So we're just going to take our hands, walk over to the right. Nice stretch in that left side body. Awesome. Gently bring the hands over back to the middle, and then take everything over to the left. Play around with depth. If you're maybe really wanting to work on a stretch, really walking those hands quite far over to the side, but making sure that that hip, whichever direction you're moving, the opposite hip still stays nice and grounded. You're not shifting one side or the other. Awesome. Come back to center. Let's walk ourselves up. Come into tabletop. Hands under the knees. Knees under the hips. And just take a moment here, kind of shift the hips around. Awesome. Rolling the shoulders maybe a little. Letting the head hang heavy, rocking it side to side. Find some organic movement here. Just what feels right to you. This is your practice, your space. Maybe a deep inhale, dropping the belly, cow pose. Exhale, tuck the chin, rounding through the back, cat. Repeating that, or maybe finding your own little fun movement, being creative. This is your practice. Awesome. One more round or a little bit of movement wherever you're at. Come back to this neutral tabletop. So our hands, wherever they ended up, are back under the shoulders. Knees are under the hips. And we're going to start to work on our balance a little bit here. So we're going to reach our right hand forward, bicepped up by that right ear, and then finding these anchor points in the left hand and right knee. So we're pressing into them. And then we're going to extend that left leg behind us. So opposite arm and leg are lifted. The belly is not hanging down. It's nice and activated. We activate by pulling that belly button towards the spine, still pressing into the mat, almost like you're finding height as you do so. Using our balance here, we have awareness all the way to these fingertips and all the way to those toes that are lifted. Toes are pointed down to keep that femur nice and neutral in our hip joint. We're staying here. You're still holding. You're doing great. Maybe even find it a little bit more height in that arm and leg. Awesome. You're staying for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring that right hand down to meet the left. Left leg comes down. Maybe finding a little bit more movement. Another round of cat and cow as we release some of that tension that we just built up and take it to the other side. So lifting our left hand out in front of us, bicep by the ear, right leg extends out behind us, toes pointed down, staying strong here. Gaze just straight down. We're not lifting the neck up or anything. Nice neutral spine here. Holding, press into the mat. Staying aware in that knee and hand. We're not dumping or shifting. This is a wonderful practice on balance. Even pressing into that shin that's nice and grounded on your mat. Finding even more surface area. You're doing great. And we're holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, bring everything down. Awesome. Shift our knees back a little bit towards the back edge of the mat. Walk our hands forward, puppy pose. Just really letting that rib cage splay. Nice, wonderful rounding of the spine here. So this is really about letting our rib cage expand and not necessarily let that belly drop down. Let that forehead come down to the mat. Knees are under the hips here. Just for one round of breath here. You're doing great. Awesome. And then we'll shift forward, come on to the belly. Sphinx pose. On the forearms, elbows underneath the shoulders, not underneath the elbows. Gaze forward. And let's just take a moment here to maybe just take the neck and turn it a little to the side. It's just wonderful stretch. Letting those hips be heavy, awesome. And then maybe playing around and taking it to the other side, moving slow. Awesome. Mindful here, maybe even nodding the head down. Awesome. And then lifting it up towards the sky. Awesome. And then we'll slowly lower all hands, come shoulders, come up onto the knees, shift the hips up and back into our first downward dog. Awesome. Nice and strong. Find your foot placement. Hopefully you're not dealing with Mother Nature like I am right now. All right, nice and strong in this downward dog. Maybe even finding a little bit of movement here too. Awesome. Inhale, bend both knees, take the gaze forward, slowly walk towards the top of the mat into a forward fold. Awesome. Let's inhale to halfway lift. Really bring that crown of the head forward. Exhale, forward fold. And on this next inhale, we're really going to press into the earth. Root to rise. Arms come up and overhead. Really reaching, maybe even doing a little tree movement. Waking ourselves up. Wiggling the fingers, maybe even taking the gaze up to the sky. And then our hands come to our heart space. Standing here in this wonderful mountain pose. And then maybe taking our hands behind the back. Just a little clasp to open up our front side of our shoulders. Gentle tuck of the chin. Feel a wonderful stretch in the back of the neck as we do so. Awesome. And then slowly release that. And inhale, arms go up and overhead. Exhale, sit the hips back, coming into chair pose. Awesome, nice and strong, staying here for a moment. And then we're going to take our weight, shift it into the left foot, and come up to standing with our right knee raised. All right, so place your arms wherever you can find balance here, right? So if you want them up and overhead, reaching, or at your heart space, maybe out to the sides or on the hips, just play around here, using our core to have this right knee nice and lifted. Awesome. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, set that right foot down to meet the left. Awesome. Inhale, arms go up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Nice, awesome stretch, back of the legs. And then inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, arms up and overhead. Just getting the blood pumping a little. Hands to our heart space. All right, so if we want to, we can bring our hands up and overhead or keep them at our heart space here. Now we are going to sink the hips back, come into chair again, just rolling through that little balance posture on the other side now. Staying strong here for a moment. Then transitioning the weight into the right foot. Press that right foot into the mat as we lift the left knee up into the standing knee raise. Play around with where you want your arms. A bit of a challenge if we have them overhead, or if we're bringing them to our heart space. Find balance. Yes, if you're on carpet, this is a bit more challenging. Really flexing this foot and almost pulling it up towards the sky provides almost like a little imaginary balance point. Doing great. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, slowly have that left foot come to meet the right. Awesome. Arms go up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Pressing the earth away, Vinyasa. I'm going to up dog. Awesome. Shifting the hips up and back, downward dog. Now we're going to take a nice deep inhale, bend both knees, and let's try to take a little hop forward. Hop. Finding just a tiny little bit of height using that core. Awesome. Forward fold. And as we rise, this time we're going to rise up and sit back into chair. Awesome. Repeating that little thing. So bringing our weight into the left knee, gently pushing into the earth, coming to the standing knee raise. This time, transitioning our weight forward, finding balance, and coming into warrior three. So you're taking that bent knee and extending it out and back behind you. If you lose your balance, no, that's okay. Find it again. Find a focus point in front of you. Awesome. And then step this right foot down and back, nice and strong. Finding good balance here, up into warrior two. Awesome. Doing great. Inhale, arm up and overhead, peaceful warrior. Exhale, back to warrior two. Staying strong. And then straightening in this front leg, reach that left hand, come down into triangle. This is a wonderful little balance posture. Here, we're imagining everything is on a wall behind us. Keeping active, having our hips pulling towards the back of our space. Awesome. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, step this right foot up to meet the left, back in this forward fold. You're doing great. Inhale, rise up and back, chair pose. Taking this to the other side. You're doing great. Transition the weight into our right leg. Come up to the standing knee raise as we press in to the earth, really grounded in that right foot. Ground through that big toe. Find a focal point Then start this big transition into warrior three, keeping that left foot elevated as we make the transition, really playing around with our balance. Keep your awareness as you fall out again. Keep your awareness. Awesome. It's not necessarily about height in that back leg. Awesome. Step back to that warrior two. Nice and slow, opening up. Inhale, right arm goes up and overhead. Exhale, back to warrior two. Straighten in this front leg. Reach forward, then tilting down into triangle. You're doing awesome. And then we will stay for the inhale here. Just really waking ourselves up, having fun, keeping awareness everywhere. And then bring everything down. Step this left foot up to meet the right. Nice forward fold. Doing awesome. Now we will inhale. Arms go up and overhead. Exhale, hands to our heart space. You're doing great. One more little round of balanced transitions. Okay, so we will inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, sit back to chair. Yes, really working on the legs today. Shift the weight to that left foot. Drive into your mat, lifting the right knee up. You're doing great. Shifting into warrior three again. Finding that balance, knowing it's okay if you fall out. I'm doing it too. And then this time we're going to step gently back into a high lunge or crescent. So our left foot's forward, hips this time facing forward. We're up on those back toes. Nice high lunge. Awesome. And then we're going to open up into a high lunge twist. So our right hand will reach forward, left hand reaches back, playing around with balance here. So we're pressing into both feet, keeping awareness in the core. Awesome. Inhale, bring those arms up and overhead to face forward again. Exhale, hands come down onto the mat, driving into this left foot. We'll lift our right leg up into a standing split. It's not about seeing how high we can get that leg. It's just about really having this right glute nice and activated, finding height, using our hands on the ground for balance, but maybe playing around by just being on the fingertips. Awesome. Stay for the inhale, exhale, right foot comes to meet the left. Forward fold. You're doing great. Playing around with that sequence on the other side now. So we'll inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, sit the hips back, chair pose again. Last one, I promise. Staying strong, transition the weight into your right leg, press into the mat. Left knee comes up, standing knee raise. Find your balance, then transition back to this warrior three. You're doing great. Left leg's lifted. And then gently step that left foot into a high lunge. Find your balance. Nice and strong. And then find that high lunge with the twist. Really wonderful challenge to ourselves. Left arm is forward, right hand is back. You're doing great. Back up to this high lunge. Transition the hands down to the mat on either side of this front foot, lifting the back leg up. So we're pushing in that grounded foot. Awesome. Really activating in that left glute for the standing split. There's a bee on me right now, so hopefully it doesn't sting me. Staying. And then we will exhale, bring that left foot to meet the right. Forward fold. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And then we're just going to inhale, nice and slowly lift up, hanging out here for a moment. Nice flat back. Awesome. Exhale, forward fold. You're doing wonderful. And then planting the hands, step back to plank. Nice and strong. And then vinyasa, or just meeting in downward dog. Whatever you choose. Whatever little tidbits you want to have to your practice. Awesome. Hanging out here in this downward dog. Using our breath to kind of head downstream. Nice deep inhale. And then exhale. Bring those knees down. Come to sit on the heels. We just spent lots of time really using our feet, all those little ancillary muscles in our feet. So they're probably really talking to us right now. This is just a wonderful way to stretch the bottom of the feet. And if you're not all the way back on the heels, just kind of being forward on your hands and just having those toes tucked so you're getting a nice stretch. That's totally okay too. Everybody's different. It's not about trying to hit that perfect pose. It's about what feels right to you. Awesome. Let's just take a last little moment. Take our hands behind our back, clasping them together. And then maybe even coming to rest that forehead on the mat with the hands up and overhead. Awesome. One round of breath here. And then slowly release. Make our way back up. And then walking those hands out, setting the knees under the hips, coming into puppy pose one last time. I just love this stretch. Really lifting that tailbone up. And then coming all the way down to the belly again, repeating that little sphinx we did. Elbows under the shoulders. Oh, this air is so wonderful outside right now. I wish you all could be here. And then maybe taking that little gaze over the right shoulder. And then maybe over the left. Letting those hips get heavy. Awesome. And then when you're ready, just make your way back to how we started. Child's pose. There's something poking through my mat here. Awesome. Back to child's pose. This is where we will finish just how we started. Forehead is on the mat. Nice and heavy. Let's maybe even bring our hands to rest at our sides. Think a little seed. Just relax. Shoulders really heavy. So try not to hold any tension there. Let gravity do the work. Belly relaxed. Hips heavy. Forehead rested on the mat or a pillow, block. Just whatever gives you support right now. Let's come back to that breath. Maybe notice a little shift in your energy, change. If you're still not feeling it, hey, you're still here. That's what's awesome about this. Still here. You can have good days and bad days. Doesn't matter. Just embrace this time with yourself. So let's just take 3 good rounds of breath to cultivate just one last moment of epitome of being present. So a deep inhale, expand that rib cage. Exhale, release. Inhale, expand. Exhale, release. until you then come to just normal, relaxed breath, whatever brings you comfort in this moment. I welcome you to stay here as absolutely long as you want. Just you and yourself, really working on just being mindful. And if you wish to slowly emerge out of this and continue into your day, please do so. Showing yourself some compassion for being here, for giving this little practice to yourself. Thank you so much for spending this time, space, and energy with me. Please do not forget to like this video, subscribe to Kelly Hill Yoga, and comment if you liked or disliked this practice. That's okay. Just tell me what you need. I'll try and provide as best as I can. If not, thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you. And have a beautiful day.